Hello everyone and welcome to another spectacular game from the FIDE World Team Rapid Championship, or rather FIDE World Team Championship that is being played in the rapid time format. It is by Jinshi versus Alexei Shirov. Most of you know by Jinshi for losing his game to Ding Liren in 2017. That was deemed Ding's Immortal Game, or even the Chinese Immortal Game, as the game was so spectacular. If you haven't seen it, it will be the first link in the description below. You're welcome to check it out even before checking out this video or even after the video, because it's truly one to marvel at. But this game is a bit different, and here by Jinshi faces none other than the master of the mystic arts, Alexei Shirov himself, playing board 3 for Team Spain. And it features a move that is not something that comes to mind, especially in a rapid game. So let's check it out and why this move is so incredible. By Jinshi, with the white pieces, opens with d4. We have d5 by Alexei, c4, c6, going for the Slav defense, knight f3, knight to f6, and now queen to c2. We have g6 and bishop to f4. So a very, very standard line. We have knight to a6 and now pawn to e3. Sorry if my voice sounds a bit weird. Like I said, my daughter just brings all sorts of stuff back from the kindergarten, and it affects your body in weird ways. So e3, bishop to f5, attacking the queen, and now queen to b3, putting pressure on the b7 pawn, and now knight to b4. Looks a bit odd because it's a free knight, but you kind of have to capture it because of knight to c2 check, as the bishop and the knight are attacking that c2 square. But this is, again, all very, very well-known stuff. So queen captures on b4 and pawn to e5. Now opening a discovery on the queen and attacking the bishop on f4. Queen captures on b7, rook to b8. We have queen captures on c6 with check and bishop to d7. So giving back some material in order to get full development in. And here white has two main ideas, and both of them are known. One of them is to move the queen to a6. The other one is to actually capture on f6. But this is such a brutal line that I absolutely must show it. So queen captures on it was not played in the game. In the game, queen to a6 was played, but queen to f6. Look at this. Queen captures, bishop captures on e5, attacking the queen and the rook behind the queen. Queen to b6, now attacking b2, and it's, again, very well known that you cannot capture the rook, so you have to play b3 first. b3, queen to a5 with check, knight b to d2, and now look at this, rook captures on b3. This is the only move that doesn't lose the game for black. So now the knight cannot capture because of check, and a captures on b3 is impossible because of queen captures on a1 with check. So bishop to e2, preparing to castle, and now f6, bishop captures, and rook to g8. White will castle, and now rook to b2, putting pressure on the knight, and you can't really move the knight because the bishop on e2 will hang. So rook a to b1, rook captures, black will give up the rook for two knights, captures, bishop to f3, and now let's say bishop to e7. It seems like white has too much material and black should not be able to play like this, but black's pieces are just so much better. Look at this, bishop captures on d5, attacks the rook, and now really no good square for the rook. If you play rook to f8, then rook to b8 with check is just winning, so you have to play something like bishop captures here. That bishop is much too powerful. Bishop captures on g8, and now let's say bishop f5, attacks the rook, rook to b8 with check. The game continues, but with two rooks and the bishop against the queen and two bishops, plus the three central pass pawns, white has all the counterplay needed in the world to make up for not having a queen. So that's what is happening after queen captures on f6. But as by Jinshi knows who his opponent is, his opponent being Alexei Shirov, he knows that Shirov probably knows queen captures on f6 line much better than the queen a6 line. So he plays queen to a6, gets the queen out of harm's way, and now e captures on f4. Remember, black still has to recapture the piece, so e captures on f4, and now there is a game where c5 was played, and also bishop to d3 is a known move, but here we have knight to c3 by Jinshi, and it is now as of move 12 that we have a completely new game. And it doesn't take many moves to really blow up the position. Look at this, f captures on e3, f captures on e3, and now bishop to h6, going after this e3 pawn, queen to a3, stopping black from castling, and now what can black play here? Probably best for black is just to play bishop to f8, attack the queen, and kind of force this c5 move. And white will now have a pass pawn on c5, but at least black will be able to castle. Let's say bishop to h6, but now white will castle queenside, black will castle kingside. And okay, rook to e1 defends the bishop, but rook to e8 goes after the pawn, and it's a fine position, but white should be much better. Black will have some very nice attacking potential, but the passed c-pawn is just a passed c-pawn. But instead, in the game after queen to a3, Shirov played bishop captures on e3, and it looks like a move you should be able to play. What could happen here? What could happen to you? The problem is the position is now completely winning for Jinshi, but you have to find the move that is so weird that it definitely, it's not the first thing that comes to mind. So feel free to pause the video and try to figure it out while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on, well, just finding an absolute brilliancy against a true master of the mystic arts. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is king to e2. This is the star move of the game, and it is the only winning move for white. Just to give you an idea, let's say you play bishop to d3. And okay, it makes sense. You want to get your king into the game. This bishop here controlling all of these squares is just too strong. You can't castle kingside, you can't castle queenside, and after a few more moves, let's say captures, queen to e7, now you're forcing a queen trade because you're either going to threaten some very nasty discoveries, or you allow the queen trade. So let's say captures, knight to d1 will attack the bishop goes back, and the game continues. White should always be a little bit better, but nothing spectacular. It is an extra pawn after all, it's a passed d pawn. But that's what happens if you don't play the absolute best. But here, Jinshi played king to e2, and now what do you play? The thing behind king to e2 that is so spectacular is that it directly stops queen to e7. Queen to e7 now is pointless, and this was black's biggest move pretty much on everything that white plays, because now white just captures it and wins the bishop. That's the point. So what can you do here? Okay, you have to move the bishop. Your bishop is attacked. Bishop to f4 was played, and now look at this, rook to e1. Now white is threatening some nasty discoveries with the king, and also you still cannot castle, and also you still can't play queen to e7 because now king to d1. And now what are you gonna play here? So after rook to e1, we have bishop to e6, closing off the e file, but now king to d1. We have d captures on c4, and bishop captures on c4. The black king still stuck on e8. We have queen to e7, now this is possible, but now Jinshi happily trades. We have queen captures, king captures, and now pawn to g3. Attacks the bishop here, bishop back to h6, and now rook to e2. We'll double up on the e file. Rook h to c8, finally getting that rook into the game, and now bishop captures on e6, f captures, and rook h to e1, attacking the e6 pawn. King to f7, offering a pawn, and now king to c2, because if rook captures here, then you allow rook captures on b2, and you really don't want to allow black all that much activity. So king to c2, and now knight to d5, putting pressure on the knight on c3, knight to e5 check, king to g8, and now a3 with rook to c7. Bishop to g7 is also maybe even a better idea here, but in the game rook to c7 was played. Now comes king to d3, bishop back to f8, and now rook to c1. And here the problem is, yes, you have put a bishop on this diagonal sort of with the idea of knight captures, pawn captures, and maybe winning the pawn. The problem is after knight captures, rook captures, and b captures, you can play bishop captures on a3, but then knight to c4 attacks the bishop and also the e6 pawn. So it's not really something to go for, and white would be completely winning here. So instead, after rook to c1, bishop back to g7, we have rook c to c2 now, doubling up on the second rank, and rook to b3. We have knight to c4, and now rook to d7. We have knight to a5, attacking the rook. And now best for black would be just a trade here and hope for the best. Let's say knight captures on c3, knight captures on b3, knight captures on e2, rook captures on e2, and now e5. Very nicely done, as the king is on the same file as the rook, with white always being better, but maybe black can save this. However, after rook to b6, by Jinshi just takes the entire game. Knight captures on d5, rook captures on d5, rook to c8 with check, king to f7, and now rook to c7 with check. King to f6, now knight to c6, and there is not all that much you can do. Knight is coming to e5, and the rook is coming to f7. There is no defense against this. Bishop to h6 was played, but now just knight to e5. We have rook to a6, and now pawn to h4, taking away the g5 square from the black king, and he was in this position on move 37 that Alexei Shirov resigned the game. And what a spectacular victory for Bai Jinshi, and an important one for China at that, taking down such a spectacular player in such a way. And here you resign because your king doesn't really have any squares. Now with g5 taken, rook to f7 will be checkmate. The only way to survive is to give up the exchange here with rook captures on e5. But after d captures on e5 with check and king f5, you would play rook to e4, again cut off the black king. And there is nothing black can do. Rook to f7 will be checkmate on the next move, unless black plays something really weird, like tries to give up a bishop. Then you will prolong checkmate for a few moves, but I mean, we do not discuss that on this channel. So after h4, a spectacular victory for Bai Jinshi. And also, for those of you who are interested, as this is not a game from the finals have already started. The first match has been played, and the second match is being played now. I will still not discuss the results, as we are going to cover the finals, but I just thought that I should definitely show this game, because we do not see a move like king to e2 every day. Like bishop captures on e3, you think there's nothing white can do. White is just completely busted, and then you see a move like king e2. I mean, wow. Getting the rook into the game, because without this you are not getting the rook into the game. So also something that might happen in your own game, so you will have this as an idea, maybe prepared, that you can, you know, sort of think outside of the box. That's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Truly a masterpiece against Alexei Shirov. Really nicely done by Bai Jinshi. I would like to thank Austin Wheeler, Ahmed Youssef, Anu Pakihal, Klotzbox, and Buntiak Pang for contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the FIDE World Team Championship until it finishes. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.